Welcome back to the Atlanta Major, and this is a game I think everyone has been dying to see take place. It is G2 coming up against DarkZero this early in the competition. Tim, we remarked on this yesterday a little bit and said it feels strange to have two juggernauts, two super prestigious organizations in the esports scene coming up against each other in the play-ins. Neither team goes home if they lose here. The loser will go on to play a best of 3 later on, which they could be eliminated from against Fury, but winning here guarantees you a spot in our Swiss stage.
Yeah, it's exciting stuff. As we said, it's probably going to be the biggest game of Phase 1, really, on paper, when you look at the two teams, the two orgs that are playing off against each other. So definitely a big one that a lot of people are going to be focusing on. I know, when we saw ahead of time that maybe we could be lining up to cast this one, it's an exciting one, definitely, for sure. Can't wait to see how these two face off. This is one of those where you look at it and you think this could be a matchup that we see later on in the tournament as well.
He's yapping. Let's take a look at the 6 Invitational graphic. Just as a reminder, both of these two teams have already qualified. So although this has been a big theme so far, looking at how the teams are doing, what they need to do to make it into SI, these two already there. So it's not really a concern. At this point, it is solely about this major and getting qualified now, so you haven't got to go into that best of 3 against Fury later.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, there's a lot on the table, really. You can look at it and think, well, nobody's going home, you get another chance. But it's about getting it locked in now, as we can see from our graphic there. We've got the group stages and how they played out. Fury and Knights yesterday, of course, pushing Fury through. We covered that game. It was actually a belter, really. It was a little bit closer than maybe the scoreline suggests, especially on Skyscraper, but Fury got the job done, and they are now sat waiting. And as we said yesterday, you got to remember, one of these two teams, DarkZero, G2, we look at that, the loser goes into that matchup, you think, yeah, they'll beat Fury probably, but they're coming off the back of a loss where Fury are nice and fresh for the day. There's no guarantees.
I think my only frustration for yesterday, or remark on that really, was that G2 didn't have to get out of second gear. For most of that game, they were in first gear, barely really having to try, taking a lot of 1v1s, and it's only once saying they threw kind of does Fury a bit of a disservice, but you could tell G2 were really the ones leading to their own downfall in those rounds. We've really got to see a different Fury come out of the gates today if they're going to win against either of these two teams, in my opinion. But this is where you get to see now what these two teams will really be capable of against each other. I'll tell the tape up on the screen for you as well, just so you can see how the records stand for these two teams. As a reminder, that's 7-1 for DZ, that's wins, and then overtime wins. The 2 and 4 is overtime losses, and then regulation losses. Both in a good position for SI. As we've remarked, look, there's lots of expectation that these will be the two teams getting out of this group today. The real question then comes, how far can they go? Because last time we were on American soil for a major, DarkZero won it in Charlotte. For G2, they won SI earlier this year. A lot of history in the last 12 months or so for both teams, but they've got to start right at the bottom here in play-ins and work all the way through.
Yeah, for me, they're both teams that can do it. Absolutely, we know that. But sometimes you just look and think, what's gone on there then? And they just have those moments. Both of them seem to do it. So I'm kind of hoping that, we get the best version of both of them showing up today and have a hell of a game, really.
It's that classic, post-event win curse. I don't think any team has escaped it. Think about, TSM at SI, SSG at SI. Everything just seems to go downhill after winning. So the lesson is, don't win. Rogue are another great example. Team 1 were a great example.
I'll still take the win, I think.
You'll always take the win in the trophy, absolutely. But here's the veto for you on the right-hand side of your screen. Tim, come here, look. Come here. Get out of the way. That's it. You're blocking the graphic.
Out of the way.
Stop blocking the graphic. Look, your elbow's touching it. Get out of the way. We're going to Oregon anyway.
Honestly, Des, you're a nightmare. Where's that devil costume?
I know, honestly, I still haven't got rid of all the makeup. I got in the shower yesterday and it was just a flood of red. It was hilarious. But Oregon's the one we're going to. Me and Fresh were talking about this a bit earlier, what map we expected to go to. Oregon, it's 5th, 6th pref for both teams. It's sat right in the middle. It tends to be the way in the best of one because you ban away either your weakest 4 maps or the opponent's strongest 4 maps or a blend of that, and you always end up somewhere in that 4th to 6th in preference rating. Oregon bang on in the middle for both of these teams.
I think it's, again, I'll say the same as I said yesterday. I don't mind Oregon. I quite enjoy it when you've got two big teams coming together because it just, for me, it takes the map question.
It's about fundamentals, I think.
It just takes the map question out of it. You just sort of come down to, right, who's the better team, who's going to turn up and play the better game on the day, because it's not like one of those that I expect, a team to be, Nighthaven's their pick or, Bank is their pick. Oregon, I'd expect them both to be doing well on. So, yeah, I think it's a good map for this one. I'm looking forward to the map.
Completely agree. And for me, away from the actual siege itself, what I'm super excited about is two of the noisiest buggers that we have got in siege. You've got Alamau and you've got Canadian playing in the same matchup. For those who didn't see the clip yesterday of Troy,
I'm pretty sure everybody saw it.
I'm hoping you saw it. If you didn't,
heard
it's
it.
all over Twitter. Please do go and check it out. But game is pretty much ready, so we should be able to get into it in just a couple of seconds. Again, Tim, this one for me is a big one. It's a real good preview of what might come later in the tournament. It's two real titans of the Siege scene coming together. It's a classic battleground of Oregon to face off between them, and two loud mouths, one on either team. Most of the audience going with G2. Clearly the G2 army out in force. Maybe people just not back in DarkZero as much as some others maybe, Tim. For me, it's hard to call here from a standing start.
Yeah, I think it's always difficult to win a social vote against G2. They're always very well supported.
Very true.
Here in Siege. But DarkZero, you know, they certainly have the following as well. That's fair to say. But honestly, for me, this is a toss of a coin. It's difficult to say because we saw them both against opponents yesterday that, in all honesty, this should be beaten. Yeah. You know, Knights and Fury, as well as they might have played later on in the day, they did look a little bit out of the depth against these two. So for me, I'm kind of looking at this, and I think this is almost the first time we're really seeing these two. It's like now they're going to get put under...
Wow.
I expect them to get put under some pressure, and we'll see just how they do on the back of it. We're going to have a Grim ban coming in. I tell you what, the turnaround in fortunes for Grim over the last few months has been stark, hasn't it?
Halfway through stage 2, there was a lot of like, oh, you know, Grim's actually been picked. It's like he's been picked 4 times globally, whereas now banned away. The KB, I think, has equally been, probably, well, not equally, but has been the most popular ban that we've seen so far in the competition. I can, you know, probably say that with relative confidence that at least 80% of games have had a KB ban coming on through. As Army on the other side, which then leads things like the Mirror, the Fenrir to be banned away maybe here towards the backside. Valkyrie also been incredibly popular for most teams. I think maybe we'll see the Valkyrie coming out here from G2, or unless it's a real, like, throw down the back alley from them to ban out something more targeted. It's going to be the Kaid. So very different strategies being approached. I think DarkZero have gone for very meta operators, whereas on the other side of things, G2 have really looked to try and target DarkZero away from this one. It does leave things like Ying opened up, which I expect DarkZero will use attacking into the downstairs sites. And that's exactly where we're going to start. G2 taking us down there and picking up that Fenrir immediately.
Yeah, the key ban, I think, looking to speed up the hatch play, particularly when you're down in Laundry, which is going to be our first site. So let's get into this. Atlanta Major, one of our first real big matchups between big name teams is going to come between DarkZero and G2 here and now on the H stream on Oregon. Let's get going.
We were talking in the shuttle over here from the hotel earlier, a bunch of talent were, and saying the craziest game that might yet come out of today is if SSG lose in the game that's going on the other stream against Team Bliss. You've got Wolves versus SSG for a best-of-3 elimination on day 2 during the play-ins. That'll be an absolutely bonkers matchup if it comes down to it. And obviously, the teams themselves will be praying it doesn't come down to that. Hopefully, at least for them, SSG get the dub over Bliss and Wolves win against Bliss later on. That would be what the script dictates, but we all know how crazy things can get. Here we go, though, down in the basement.
Well, this is it. You know, like you talk about those upsets. Wolves were supposed to beat Bliss yesterday, you know, and it didn't happen. So we will see how the day progresses. And, you know, the reason that I mention that is, of course, we've got a team here. G2 or DarkZero will play against Fury later on. There is absolutely no guarantees that that's going to go the way that you might expect it. Alamau, he's going to take down Gavin to kick things off. Pamba, however, does have a read. Will hit on the pre-fire, comes around, should be an easy kill, and is taking down Virtue. So that leaves us 4 versus 4, and what more of a start could we ask for? 30 seconds in, 2 gunfights, 2 deaths, 1 in either direction. You just get the feeling this is going to be a bit of a brawl.
It will be, and they're absolutely going to have a field day charging at each other. And it's a point to prove as well. Like, you even saw Alamau in the pre-game chat just being like, they were like, good luck, and they were like, you'll need it. So they're really in for a little bit of fun in this game. Really close one to keep your eye on here is going to be Canadian playing on the Monty as well. And they haven't got the Headbanner on side, for example. And I commented on this a bit yesterday. When you have the, I mean, Pamba's managed to crouch up the backside of Benja there after he's just got Rice as well. So it is a trade. A bit of time in there, I guess, on Benja's part to get the kill before being taken out himself. But it's the breaching charges in the back pockets of the Capitão and the Monty that are the one to watch out for. We saw Headbanner banned away yesterday in remarks. You know what, actually? You don't need Headbanner on a lot of maps these days. You can get away with breaching charges if you want to. And that's what they're running ahead with here.
Going to have a little bit of an advantage for G2 at the minute. It's only slight, but if you look at the overall hit points available on the team, Pamba, of course, down below 50 at the minute, whereas G2 are at least all stacked. They've got the clash of Uno on side. That's going to make it easier to deal with Canadian when the time comes. Of course, Clash, a good direct counter to Monty. The electricity will still damage Monty through his shield. So if they come face to face, it will be Uno that's the likely victor in that scenario. So with 1 minute left to go, DarkZero have got a little bit of work to do here in order to just create the space that they need to think about putting that diffuser down.
Yeah, been a little bit of a, I don't want to say uncertain round from DarkZero, but it has been very slow. A couple of skirmishes on the ground floors brought us down to a 3v3, which, in my view at least, really looks to benefit G2. They're the ones that have got the clash on side. They've got the smokes to play behind. The lesser numbers that the attackers have to come in for an execute, generally the happier the defenders will be. If you can keep the numbers even, great. You're taking away a bunch of utility that would otherwise be useful coming into the execute. So it can be a little bit frustrating, and Canadian here is just slowly going to have that life of his sapped away by Uno. However, Pamba stepped in and made it happen. The Monty's coming out the backside as well. Both down super low here. It's a 1v2. Alamar to do it all, but NJR closes out.
I'm not sure how Uno managed to sort of expose his rear side there, his flank that's allowed him to get hit.
Action! Boys! Where are you at? We got one! We got one! You're next! Let's go!
So that needs some context.
Yell at him! What is he doing? Or again! Oh, they paused.
They paused. Not cheating. That'll be imagined to sort out our sound issues. But I remember I loved watching your clip yesterday because you were trying to be like, well,
Choice cadence was so difficult yesterday.
He just kept cutting over you.
Every time it looked like he'd stopped, I'd start and he'd just fire up again.
So to give context, the teams aren't sat across from each other, so i.e. DarkZero aren't facing G2. G2 are behind the wall that you can see, I think, on the left-hand side of, here you go, right here, on the left-hand side of DarkZero themselves. Across from them is a team playing on the other stream. So what you had there was Troy basically saying, we got one, how are you guys doing? Let's go! So what I'd just love to see is the teams cheering for each other across their games. I mean, like, let's go! This side of the divide is better.
Yeah, Uno drops his shield there at the end of the round.
Where are you at? We got one! You're next! Let's go!
We got one, you're next. He's even gassing up other teams now. All right, transcends DarkZero. Honestly, oh my word.
Yeah, Uno there. You know, I'm not too sure about that. Drops his shield towards the end. I'm guessing had maybe run out of charge. Electricity had been zapping Canadian a bit and sort of keeping him at bay, but runs out of charge a little bit. He's got a man in highway who can challenge the second coming through Laundry, and I don't know if just by dropping his shield there and coming out and trying to take that swing, he sort of plays into DarkZero a little bit, because ultimately the defense are looking to play the clock there. If Uno keeps his shield up, you've got a shield on the attackers, a shield on the defenders. They sort of cancel each other out. You can have that fight onto Laundry from highway. I get that Uno probably didn't want to find himself in a 1v2 behind a shield on the clash. It's a difficult call, but I think, you know, by dropping the shield and losing that gunfight, that pretty much then seals the deal for the rest of the round. But DarkZero doing well despite difficulties through the mid-round, 3v3, a little bit low on time, having to push down Laundry. They still managed to make it work, so a good first round from them.
It is, yeah. So again, I'll always say it, give it 2 or 3 rounds to see teams warm into a game, and then you can start to draw your assessment there on what's going on. So give it a good time. Our technical timeout as we've remarked is going through, in case you are curious. I think it's down to the sound issues that we had in round 1, so just getting those rectified, and then we can jump straight back into the action. So thank you for bearing with us at least for a few minutes.
Should be pretty quiet at the minute, given that it's a tech timeout, so the players aren't allowed to speak. The voices that you can hear are coming from the other side, from, as we said, the other game that's going on.
Oh, wow.
So the players are just sort of sat in their own thoughts at the minute, and they're just waiting for things to get back underway, which will be as soon as possible.
I think Canadian needs to get up and just like take his headset off and go over to the other side and just cheer him on a bit.
So, yeah, maybe standing coach.
Alamal's making friends with the other team as well.
Yeah.
Why not?
I love planes. But for me, that was a good first round. I enjoyed that. I think we had a lot of back and forth, kills going in on either side. I think it sets us up for a fantastic remainder to this match, to be honest. I think if that's the pace that we're looking at, those 1-for-1 sort of trades going through, and a close finish, 2v2 at the end, coming down to the last couple of kills, I think we're in for a bit of a treat.
We may well be. We may well be. Time will tell. What else you got to look forward to today, Tim? We've got a best of 3 later.
All sorts. We've got the loser
GK
of this versus
GK was a nice upset.
GK is now qualified through to phase 2. So love to see that. We've got 4 more teams to go home. I guarantee in those 4 names, there's going to be at least one big name.
Yes. I mean, it feels that it's going that way.
In those 4, there will be at least one big name. NIP, SSG, G2, DarkZero are all teams that could be in that mix, and I've probably missed others. But they are all teams that could be in that situation. So for me, I feel like to think every one of them escape unscathed is probably unlikely.
Yes. There'll be a casualty.
I think there'll be a casualty. I think there will be an upset somewhere.
I'm just happy personally the loss got through. My boys, the underdogs.
Yep, job done for them. They've done well so far.
Bias caster.
As I said, you know, cameraman coming in, did exactly the same at MIBR. I'm not putting it all onto cameraman. There's a full team there, and they've all done fantastically well. But yeah, for me, I think they just seem to have galvanised after missing Copenhagen, and they've come back, and they're looking pretty good.
Troy's trying to get something going. Look. He's trying.
There he
Okay,
can't help himself, can it? You know that
Alamar's just like,
Alamar's not going to be able to help himself.
Okay, Carl.
Okay, Carl.
I'll see you in a few rounds. I don't even know how I can't fucking hear you.
We woke up this morning saying how good this one was going to be.
You just knew it. As soon as the matchup was there, I was like, oh man, you got 2 of the biggest shit talkers just ready to go head to head. It's going to explode. Is this in-game? Now we're taking it in-game now.
In-game chat
They've definitely been
well.
tapped on the shoulder by the admins and said, right, stop now. And they're just like, right, in-game, in the server it goes. Look, you know it based on their expressions.
I think that might be happening.
They are definitely talking some smack. Medics, you got to send us some pictures on WhatsApp of what's going on. And we can get in on the juice.
A little chuckle there at whatever's being discussed.
He's on it. Medics is on it. He's got us covered, mate. That's it.
Our insider.
Our inside man. Observers see all. They're not just observing the game, you see.
They observe. Well, we said this about Stefan the other day. You know, his entire life is realistically observing.
Yeah.
You know,
the silent observer as well. He'll just stare you down.
Yeah.
Observe everything. Hey, we're back into game. Don't worry, you haven't missed much. Just 1 round. DarkZero won it. It ended up in a 3v3 after about 60 seconds or so. And then on site, things went a little bit pear-shaped for G2. But let's see if this round can go any better for them. We're heading our way upstairs. G2 pretty much with everyone stacked up here at the minute, getting everything set up as you've come to expect. Mirror window dug in towards that pit wall as well, looking in towards Trophy. So I wonder if they've gonna... they've got a shield on side. I imagine you'll see the Warden set up there. Benja heading over to do that right now. So got a couple of lines of support here to play behind, which is quite nice. Yesterday, we saw a LATAM team really digging themselves into Armory itself, which is something we saw a lot of LATAM teams do when Oregon first got reworked. But other regions haven't really caught onto that one. And I did remark, Tim, that we might see a Ying coming out at some point from DarkZero, especially for the downstairs site. Here, though, being employed up on this top floor along with Pamba coming along on the Amaru. We always get excited when you see the Amaru coming out, but don't always see it used to, you know, like heroic effect of like charging in towards site or trying anything too crazy. Here, it's just that quick entry in towards tier 3. Maybe not aware that someone is sat down on the basement stairs. I don't believe that's the tier 3 stairs. It could cause a bit of bother. It's Uno lurking out there on the Fenrir.
Yeah, could do. Gonna have to work their way down those stairs, of course.
I mean...
I'd like to say it's unfortunate, but I don't think it is. I think there is a level of planning gone into that. Obviously, the drone spots the Jaeger. They know that he's going to run back upstairs, so you spray through the window. Of course, there's a little bit of luck there. Yeah. You've caught him at the right time. But I think that is certainly more management than luck, to be honest.
Pamba's got to be careful, because if Uno hasn't been sniffed out down here, he could very easily just work his way up. I don't know if that drone saw him or not, but there is one sat there. Yes, they know that he's there. If not, creeping his way up and towards tier 3 and trying to grab the Amaru. Would have been a way to even the scoring out, but already, Tim, it's the sort of thing I remark on yesterday versus when we cast a couple of teams. Yesterday, Talon jumps to -1, Fury another. You didn't see this level of teamwork coming in around the droning in the early round, nor at the pace that needed really to happen. But DarkZero already, you've seen that combo of a very simple drone, forcing a player to run, someone being in the right position for a crossfire and netting themselves a freebie. That's the kind of stuff that's going to get you far in this competition. Although it's fundamentals, it's something a lot of teams don't do particularly well.
I think they're fully aware of Uno lurking on those stairs underneath. They've got Pamba just watching that angle constantly on the Amaru from T3, so if Uno tries to move up, he's going to find himself in a lot of trouble. They are trying to push into Attic as well. Pressure now mounting from Armory. This is good from DarkZero. So many different avenues of pressure. Alamau does have that Nitro ripped, though. Sometimes just get it done early, hold it in your hand. It just prevents that audio cue to let the defenders know that it's going to be coming. I think he's just waiting for that push in towards Armory and Trophy, and when it comes, he's going to step out and let fly.
This is the battle. You got rid of the shield, you've done the work to get control of bedroom itself, but that mirror window is still standing, and Benji's in the spot to be able to make good use of it. So unless you've got info inside of Pit itself, you are just constantly nervous that someone's going to swing you or is playing behind that shield. That phantom pressure that we always speak about. You don't know if someone's there, so you have to assume that they are. But Benja watching this one off towards this more sheer angle, daring someone to push around that Armory door.
He's going to step back out as the flash comes out. Attic is now being pushed. Rice is looking to move in. Benja has been forced back. Canadian with the Yings, likely to go in through Kid's window. Alamau does manage to find NJR. Pamba does find Uno as he tries to move up those rear stairs. And we just have kill for kill trades once again. 3 versus 2. Advantage DarkZero is wiped away by Virtue as he finds Canadian. 2 versus 2. 5 seconds left to go. Rice is planting. Can G2 do anything about it? Unlikely as Pamba picks up Virtue. And it's all up to Alamau now. He moves through. Brilliant. Nothing he can do. The angle is watched. Pamba takes him down.
Let's fucking go. Boys, the patience, the resets. That's it. That's it. We have the game plan. They don't. We're a team. They're not. Let's go.
Keep talking that how you talk shit.
Well, boys! Let's go! Me, you!
Volley is going to be so proud.
This is most definitely the Canadian show today, isn't it?
Oh, it is, isn't it? Oh, isn't it?
There you go. Absolutely
the
beautiful.
Thing is, I was looking at this remark. It was a really slow round from DC, and I was a bit nervous coming into the end. The one thing that got them really held up, I thought, was that mirror window inside a pit looking in towards Trophy. That's where we had to wait for Rice to come pushing in the backside and get it shot out, forcing Benja away, got the kill onto him, and that's when everything opened up. If they hadn't managed to secure that, if Rice had died inside of Attic, that round probably crumbles with Benja being able to do a lot of work inside of pit. But he said himself, a lot of patience, the teamwork, the team play. It was there from kill 1 on Doki all the way through to the very end.
I was going to say, there's 2 kills there that really summed up that DarkZero round for me, and the reason that they're 2-0 up at the minute, the reason that I think they are playing better than G2 right now, and that was the kill onto Doki at the beginning. Great use of information and anticipation, and then also the patience from Pamba to watch that angle for Uno. We knew that he was going to kill him. We knew that Uno was going to push up those stairs at some point, and it was as soon as they got into Attic, but they were just a step ahead of them. Pamba closes it down. Really good stuff from DarkZero. If they can continue like that, honestly, G2 are going to struggle.
So, Medics came in, he delivered the goods. Alamau came out saying to Troy during that tech pause, will you be hiding behind that shield the whole map, Troy? And Canadian simply responded, wisdom is a function of time, young one. It's a very philosophical statement, isn't it? I mean, so far it's working out because they're up 2-0 and G2, well, 0-2. Not the dream start for them, but easy at the very least, looking excellent, I think, so far. Yes, a bit slow, but they're getting the results, and that's what matters. Pamba at 6-1 as well, charging for on the Ying here, just forcing his way down Zulu in towards security, and it does push Virtue back. Even more Candelas coming out here as well, really making use of them to make space and push on forward rather than strictly for and execute like you'd see most teams use it for. But it's about getting results, and Virtue for now is still untouched on that Fenrir, still dug inside of security.
Yeah, going to have to be cleared out. A little bit slower version of Laundry this time. Last time around, by 30 seconds, we had kills going in on both sides. Patience. But they have definitely had to move a little bit slower. Look at the timing, though. I love that. Pamba just sending that Candela in, straight in behind it, ready to be aggressive, ready to try and find that kill. Virtue, no choice but to drop the hatch, but they're not aware of Benja, are they? I don't think they were. But Pamba is just able to react quicker. Manages to get the kill, takes down Pamba, takes takes down Benja, leaves himself on very low health, but that's not the end of the world. 5 versus 4 for DarkZero at the minute.
It's always the trouble of roaming on the ward, and he's going to be very, very loud, and Pamba just heard him as he was working his way towards and through the rotate. Managed to get the spin and the kill. Only just, mind you, one more bullet would have been enough to finish him off as well, but he moves up to 7-1, Tim. Absolutely ludicrous. Nearly more combined
Pamba
than everyone else in the... Yeah, it's a Pamba party. Nearly more combined than every other player in the server. It's quite a scary result to have after just 3 rounds of play. Still, here we go. Time to work their way now down towards Big Tower and charging their way forwards. They've got that south side in towards Freezer cleared out, and now it's about this look in towards the execute, and it is very heavily north side centered.
It is. I think the way that I feel about things at the minute is that G2 are just playing sort of a more reactionary game at the minute. You know, every opportunity they have seems to come as a reaction to something. It's not, you know, that DarkZero are sort of walking into their pre-laid plans, if you will. Doki's going to just hide himself underneath the stairs there. He manages to get himself known. 2. Can he find a third? He's looking to push into bunker. All the kills going in G2's direction. Doki does get the last. They managed to close out a round, and that is better from G2.
What can I say? Playing the Harry Potter spot, dug under the stairs, and finds a 3K to close the round out. DarkZero, I think, missing him ever so slightly on the drones in that one. Didn't really see how many drones they had left there towards the bitter end, but it's enough to get G2 that round. So 3 rounds in. 2-1 to DarkZero. You've seen both teams show a little bit of everything there. I think we're really out on their own. DarkZero have got that put-togetherness to deal quite effectively with the drone game coming out of G2. Even on site, they've done relatively well, but I think that's where G2 are going to find success here, is playing on that on the site itself and looking to defend hard.
Benja's going to kick himself there. He should definitely be finding that kill realistically up in the kitchen. He's going to know that, and we know it's uncharacteristic of Benja not to be, you know, closing that one out. So G2 managed to find themselves one. Is it going to be the building block? Is it going to be the foundation that they need to start building a few more? They're going to go to the 3rd choice site rather than going back up to dorms. They're going to head into kitchen and dining this time.
Alamar as well, flying at 6 and 3. It's worth mentioning too. Really getting himself up on numbers. I think one of the kills that Doki got must have been a down then from Alamar to secure that kill off in the very, very end.
I think it was the one onto Pamba, yeah. I think as he pushed down, Alamar downed him and then Doki just picked him up.
Got the finish, yeah, absolutely. Echo in this round coming along as well. Not something we see super often, of course. A good while ago now, lost the invisibility on those drones. However, still very powerful in the right position. But one thing that we were talking about a little bit over a couple of drinks of the day was around balance and siege at the minute and for the defenders, having their very niche but sharp and deep use cases. Thinking about things like the architects, like Castle or a Mirror, for example. Mirror may be a little bit wider use case than most, but I think Echo fits really well into that mold of having very specific but strong use cases. To think about like Team Secret in EU, for example. Love playing it on Nighthaven, or ITB, sorry, stacking it at the top of lobby stairs. We see it a lot on kitchen, down on cafe and kitchen, for example. So although not a wide use on every single site in the game, you do find the ability to make use of them in specific strats makes them really quite interesting in terms of the variability of comps that you can bring along. So I'm keen to see how they make use of it here, where they'll park the drones, where they're going to sit, what they're watching out for, and probably even more importantly, can Canadians sniff them out with the Twitch drones?
And JR just signalling the utility that needs to be cleared out of small tower. Having a look, make sure there's nothing else. Getting to work now, getting up on that top floor, just looking to open up the verticals. Doki's going to ping out the pre-plus nitro, so he's waiting for a little bit of intel, I think, to tell him. I don't know whether they've maybe got an echo cam up there potentially that's just going to be feeding a little bit of info, so he can call them when they stood on top of it, and Doki will blow the nitro. But for the time being, the call has not come.
Yeah, Rice being down there by the impact, and clearly Alamar knew, because he's got to then finish him off as well, off the back of the impact coming on in. Doki still with that C4 above as well, just waiting for someone to come running in above, and we'll be in a great spot to pop it out. Shot drone coming on down. Just blazed past him, but catched it just as it fades away around the corner. And now we can see these Yokai drones coming into effect.
There we go. Just going to signal out. Giveni drops down and does get Alamar with a nice headshot, though, and now is in control of security. Could be dangerous for Doki, who's playing on white stairs. Benja needs to have the cover there, so he can't push through. Beautiful from Doki. Finds one on white window. Benja, as I said, has the cover, but not for long enough. Just as he steps away from watching it, Giveni steps out and manages to get a late trade onto Doki. 3 versus 2, and that's a triple in the round for Giveni at the minute. He just keeps going, but Benja, he doesn't miss this time. Shuts down his man. 2v2.
And 2v1 as well, as Benja's all that's left standing. They just caught Virtue pulling back in towards sight. Now, Benja, rough spot to be in as well. No real visibility or insight into what's going on, but here's about the diffuser outside. Could have almost taken his man, but NGR, he was a bit wise too. It was watching the angle in case there was a run out coming through. It's a good read overall from Benja. Playing towards this long angle inside the kitchen now as we have the plant going down, but it's far off on the other side. It's about this win inside of security that's going to matter. Almost loses out, is charging around. Wants the man going for the plant, but at this range, Benja, I don't think the shorty's going to help you.
When they get in there, baby, when they get in there. Who do you kill? Who do you kill when you got it? Oh, you killed Carl. Oh, poor baby Carl. Let's go.
I could listen to him talk crap all day. It's so good.
DarkZero looking pretty good again then. A little bit of adversity for them. G2 started off well in the round. Doki pretty much in control of those stairs, white stairs.
Let's go! Let's go! 3-1 us! Let's go! What are they doing over there? I don't fucking know!
Just remember, every time we're getting like these bits.
I love that he's gassing up. I don't know.
I don't know which of the...
Right, I'm going to message Fresh and you can go and find out for us.
I don't know who's playing. The other stream is going to be the Bliss game, isn't it?
It's Bliss versus SSG.
Bliss versus SSG. Maybe it's the SSG boys.
I don't think it is, you know.
No, maybe not.
Who's sat across from D?
We'll find out. We'll find out for you. Don't you? But we'll bring you all in.
Agent Fresh.
Alamo just showing an ability to use that there, finds his kill. But yeah, for me, Gaveni really broke the back of that.
It is SSG. Yeah,
it's SSG. Okay. Gaveni really brought the back of that defense, just getting himself in the mix there. Look at how well he got that triple kill inside of sight. That's really his round, to be honest.
Yeah, Fresh did just confirm that it is SSG, and they are hyping each other up.
Yeah.
So clearly, as they go along, it's brilliant. It's nice that they're seeing the round end syncing up as well, that they actually get that chance to big each other up. I like it. Bit of a regional camaraderie being shown until they face against each other, then it's a very different conversation, I'm sure. But for now, at least, they both want out of this. They want this done and dusted. They win this best of one. Both of them go through to phase 2 of the competition and play in Swiss. It starts in a few days' time.
10 seconds left.
Going to be back up to the top floor then. It's going to be Dorms that they tried to hold on to. Tried this back in round 2, didn't really work out. DZ were able to win it. It was a very good round from DZ, actually. It was the one that I commented on where they had Pamba holding T3, so Uno couldn't move up rear stage stairs. Instead, this time Uno is going to start up on T3, so he's going to try and prevent that from happening and just really prevent that that attic access that cost them last time around. Ras was able to push in on the Maverick, and there wasn't really much that they could do about it. But yeah, very well worked overall from DarkZero. G2 need to make sure that they're not losing those outliers. Doki this time, instead of being at the bottom of stairs, he's up in trophy. So just, I think this for me is G2 playing it a little bit safer.
I think acknowledging, hey, they've got the read on us. Like, what Doki tried to do is something that you often see played in Big Tower, is when you defend in the basement, you play halfway up Big Tower, you take out a drone, you fall back, it's very safe. He's trying to do the same on the south side, but you are still exposed to armory on your way back through, and that's how he got caught out previously. He would have fallen back to the shield spot that they're in now, and then you've got that second line of defense from Benja playing inside a pit once again. So very similar thing coming out of G2, just here they've kept Doki alive by not having him risk it all for a drone.
Rice is going to be on the drones, sending the information in, bringing the Lion along, so he's going to use the E1. They have no idea. This has got to be a freebie for Virtue. Drone does come out. I don't think he's going to spot him. Nope, not going to have any clue whatsoever. Absolute freebie for Virtue as he moves around the corner. Nice and easy. He'll have heard Rice getting the drone, getting his phone essentially out of his pocket, just activating the drone, so he will know Virtue's going to get caught out now, though, as Pamba comes around the corner. Maybe should have moved himself a little bit quicker. Could have got it.
He helped that. He wanted the gunfight.
4 versus 4, and not a bad start from either side.
It was a good read from Virtue as well. He knew there'd be someone pushing him down off the back of that corner coming. Now he's in showers. Like, he can only be on the small tower side of the map, and he wants to try and get back towards site. White stairs would have been his target. So Pamba makes the right move to go after him, but probably really Virtue rode on him looking towards white stairs rather than security door. And sure enough, Pamba wins out. It is the Pamba party after all.
Oh my! This is
and it's Canadian as well.
It's not great for DarkZero. They've had 2 caught out on drones now. They maybe just need to think about the positions they're leaving themselves in, when they're going to be leaving themselves vulnerable on that information utility. Gaveni has no option but to just step back inside and take that goo mine out. NJR manages to push on into sight, but it's not looking good at the minute as Benja manages to find one. There's another, this time for Alamo. Second in the round, 4 versus 1 now. Pamba's no choice but to push up white stairs. And I tell you what, Pamba Party's going to have to be a hell of a party. And what a headshot that is on onto Benjameister. Sit down.
No.
Finds himself a second. Cannot find the third as Doki shuts it out. And that's going to be G2 finding their second round.
Yeah, he was throwing
For a few seconds.
I was stuck behind the meter window. He was doing so much damage to me.
Just for a few seconds there, you saw Pamba's names going up in lights. But I think really when you're looking at it, that was very much G2 playing from the shadows. Every kill was popping out a window, it was hiding in showers, it was really catching them off guard and punishing them for small pockets of like, I guess like gaps in their knowledge based on the droning they'd done and awareness of where players were. There was no kind of like drones on site to figure out, hey, we can only see 2 or 3 players. Where are the other 2? One's in classroom punching out a window. The other one is hid in showers. They're not always going to know about that. So it's good from G2 to disrupt, I think, DZ, because like I remarked earlier on, I think when it comes to actually hitting sight, G2 have generally looked pretty good in terms of their defense. But if you can stop DZ ever having to even get to that position, then fantastic. You haven't got to worry about a great defense when they're already all dead.
G2 then, managing to keep things close. I sort of feel at the minute like DarkZero kind of are on top of things, but G2 scrapping in a couple of rounds, they get them over the line, and they are still within touching distance. You sort of feel like this one's almost destined to go 3-3 in each half into overtime with no clear advantage to anybody, and go the distance. You almost see that it's written in the stars already.
Pamba here rolling out with the breaching charges in back pocket still, knowing they need to get hatches open. I think they want a bit more security than just the Hibana, for example, because if NGR gets caught on the rip on a spawn peak or someone at a window like we saw in the last round, they're really screwed in terms of trying to get open a couple of key hatches. So having that insurance choices there is good, even if it means they're operating in this round without smokes, but they're really hoping that those Candelas will be more than enough.
Going to be trying to push in towards that top floor. Alamo currently positioned out on rear stage stairs. Going to try and hide himself away. I don't think that DarkZero are going to fall foul of that again. They already had a little bit of success with Virtue keeping himself hidden, but Doki up on T3 as well. They could well have an impact. Certainly something to keep an eye on. They could keep taking advantage if DarkZero aren't using that information utility clearly enough.
I am curious. Obviously, we can't see the other game going on whilst we're sat over here, so I do want to... Let's pull the stream up on my air quotes device and have a look at what's going on. Because I imagine it's a pretty close affair over there as well. In fact, no, they're only halfway through the game. They're like us, it's 3-2. You never guessed how excited Dev's been getting in the background, but it does mean these games could draw to a close around about the same time, and that will only hype Canadian and SSG up even more as time goes by. Now, for GT, for the most part, a lot of them have dug back in towards site, but Doki is still playing up in T3. There is a drone heading up there now. Obviously, it's not going to see him from below. He could still do a lot of damage if he goes unchecked.
Amber just opening the hatch, looking to move around. So it's all preparation stuff, really, from DarkZero. They're comfortable that they've got the map control that they need. They can start opening hatches and looking to pressure site. G2 are just holding on to their positions. Going to look to wait until they have to start moving on down, which is exactly what's going to happen now. It's up to Rice and Pamba to try and push those rear stage stairs, try and clear them out of pillars, and just make things a little bit more difficult inside the site. But G2, for the time being, they're holding angles, they're holding time. They've got a minute left to survive. They're happy enough where they are.
They still don't know about Doki. I know I keep on talking about him, but he will spring into action the next 20 or 30 seconds or so and potentially bury this attack if he goes completely unchecked. For now, though, DarkZero is still having this heavy focus on trying to hit the site. Remember that keyword that Canadian used, patience, playing things slow, looking for a big execute at the very end. Good use of the Candelas here to get inside, but sat behind a Fenrir disc, can't really do too much about that. And this is Doki striking. He's come down from tower. He's already found one. Still trying to push their way inside the blue here as well, but it's simply not going to happen. Doki gets traded out by NJR. That is the end of that flank, but Uno's ready for the next drop to come in. Whiffs off onto NJR, but there are 4 left standing. This one should be done and dusted. It's a down, and of course it's Alamau. These two just keep on finding each other time and time again. Canadian, I think, a little bit stuck here, though, with so many still to go through. G2 close that round out.
Dude, that's crazy counter on the blue and in front of me. He can yield outside, so the ADS doesn't catch and I'm flashed. Yeah. That's actually crazy good. That's crazy good counter on defense.
Likes the make use of the Candelas there. Drops inside of blue to flash you while you're in behind the shield. But the thing is, one's blinded, one's been nearsighted by Fenrir. Just shooting in the dark.
Yeah, you've just got that head-to-head of 2 players who couldn't really do too much. But 3-3, it finishes at the half. As I suggested coming in there, it leaves us with not too much of a surprise, to be honest. These 2 teams pretty evenly matched so far. Nothing really to separate them on the scoreboard or anywhere else. Like I say, I feel like I don't know, I feel like the rounds that DarkZero have won have felt cleaner than some of the rounds that G2 have won. But overall, it's really irrelevant. At the end of the day, if you're winning the rounds, you're winning the rounds. It doesn't matter how you get it over the line. G2 are certainly starting to feel more cohesive as time goes on. DarkZero came in a little bit steadier, I think, whereas G2 now looking to settle into things.
I think that was fine from G2 as well, because outside really the scrap around Blue itself, outside of construction, it was really quite clear-cut. Like, you know, Alamar looked very comfortable around Pillar, for example. They cleared up Canadian, really no bother outside of the one kill that he got. And Doki was really unchecked the whole round, and it comes back to that theme of G2, for me at least, looked really comfortable when the execute came in and they were on site. It was off on the roam sometimes where they get punished by DarkZero, so they adapted to that, and that's why you've got this wonderful blend, well, this perfect split at 3-3. This second half could be really telling, though. If we get another 3-3, God knows where it goes in overtime.
I think Uno just recognising that there was a Dreadman just inside.
The other game has also ended
there.
3-3, by the way, at the half.
What a shock.
Wow.
Yeah, just recognise, I think we heard the audio cue for the Dreadman just inside the bunker there, so knowing that he needs to be careful, because if he steps in and activates it, he may well find himself being challenged immediately. Alamau just working through that mid-floor. It looks like G2 are pretty comfortably in control of the map. I think they're happy that they've not got any roamers or anything to deal with. DarkZero largely down on site. We'll confirm that in a second when we start getting a sort of wider view. We've got 4 there, 5, yeah, all down on site. So it's going to be a total defense from DarkZero, but I tell you what, 2 minutes is a long time to absorb pressure.
It is, and bearing in mind that there's a glass on side, you always see some funky stuff come out when there's a glass on side. Only a couple of smokes, mind you, because similar to DarkZero, you've got the headbanner, but you want the insurance of having another operator that has got the hard breach charges, which is exactly what Benja has brought to the party. Alamar, imagine, looks like he's going to try and smoke out Freezer and just close off this long angle. So basically all of the south side completely shut out. Laundry will be largely unplayable for the defenders, but that then requires the rest of G2 to execute a bit of a pinch on the north side and force those defenders that are pulling north into a little bit of a death trap, so keep a close eye on that.
Those X-Karos pellets just going to be dealt with by DarkZero, and once again, there's nothing really that G2 can do about it. They can send the Candelas down, but the reality is they're just going to have to drop here. The first one getting caught out by one of those were my magnets. Second one will find its mark and go on into pillars, but it's not going to move anybody around yet into a position that G2 can do anything about. 1 minute left to go. Half of the time that they had to absorb has been done by DarkZero. Pamba moves around, manages to get the kill onto Virtue on rear stage, and that's going to allow DarkZero to hold on to Pillar potentially. That is not good for G2.
I'm worried about the sync because Alamar was sat on drones the entire... He'd only just come off drones just now, so his team have been moving and making things happen, and he's been nowhere to be seen. This glass not being put to great use. Finally, makes his push forward and will find one. Blinded out here, Legion traps, everything slowing him down inside of Freezer. At this point, he's a minor inconvenience, though. And I'm not really going to criticize him. I imagine he was calling for his team, making sure they had the info to execute. But he has largely been ineffective in this round because he's had to sit on drones. That glass, just not a part of this round.
No, not at all. We can hear he's taking damage from all over the place, some of it from a Toxic Babe canister, and he's just trying to look to get anything going. But with 15 seconds left to go, 4 kills needing to be found, it's unlikely that anything can be done. Alamau doesn't have diffuser in hand. He's bouncing back and forward. NJR manages to take him down with a shotgun blast, and that is going to be DarkZero locking down their first defense, and that could be a concern for G2 because they never really got themselves established. Pamba had an important kill onto Virtue. It just completely removed any rear stage control that G2 had, and then that gave DarkZero a little bit of freedom inside a site to move around in highway, pillar, bunker, and just get a little bit more aggressive onto those attackers as they tried to push.
Either way, that one a little bit disparate. Boys not really in full sync and alignment, I think, on that one, whereas DZ looked cool as a cucumber, sat ready and waiting for G2's push to come through. And I mentioned that it was a little bit broken apart. Like, you even saw the drop into Evox, and it's one player coming in with no real follow-up pressure. 5 to 10 seconds later.
You've not cleared Pillar.
Huh?
You've not cleared Pillar.
No,
you can't drop into...
Well, that's what they hoped the second Candela that came through would do, but it wasn't enough.
You can't drop it, and this is why I said, you know, you kill Virtue on rear stage, you can sit in Pillar.
That's it. Yeah.
Sat in Pillar, you can't drop electrical. Simple as that.
But it was a lot of 1v1s being taken by G2 was the frustration
there was
there,
just
I think,
no option
for them. And so for DZ at the minute, it's plain sailing, it's easy and it's comfortable. So let's see what else G2 can bring to the table. Again, give them a couple of rounds to warm into things and we'll really get a feel for how this attacking half is going. Here, we've got the Amaro coming along, and I believe, I want to say, it was on this map that we did see G2 of old pull off a really interesting execute into this site through, it was the window inside of Kids. Maybe it was BDS that executed it against G2. I forget which way around it was, but we did see a team make a really good use of the Amaro out of those two teams to pull off a wonderful execute that did come off well.
Heading into round 8 we go then. It's going to be dorms for DarkZero this time. I sort of feel like G2 need to get themselves around here because think about this in a sort of a longer sense in terms of the game. DarkZero obviously moving on to attack. If they lock down Laundry, they lock down dorms, you start looking towards that thinking, well, if they do that again, basically they've won the half because they can lose their third choice site, not a problem. 4-2 on the half. It was 3-3 on the first. They'll win 7-5 overall. So G2 really need to be stepping up and taking one of these primary sites, just like DarkZero were able to do to them. Alamau knows there's one downstairs. Beautiful little peek around onto Pamba, takes down the Oryx, and that is a great start for G2. Exactly what they needed.
6 nades on side as well. They're really bringing the fireworks to this round at the very least. And the things with the Wamai on side, I thought about it last round when we saw that there were no nades coming on Glaz. I was like, well, obviously someone needs to bring smokes for him to really be effective. But that could have been 6 nades, and I thought maybe they aired away from taking them because of the Wamai on the other side. Here, really looking towards Uno to be the one that burns through them with those flashes in back pocket. That's when the nades can really start flying, and you can see as all the juice gets pulled out by the Finker, for example, the march begins. Alamau into a second in the round. As it evens out at a 3 versus 3, Alamau finds another. He's got into him, and he's making it happen all by himself.
Certainly has. That leaves him on a triple. Doki might just find the man as he tries to come back in through Trophy. Canadian does find the Nitro onto Alamau. Dread to think what the sounds are going to be if DarkZero win this round. Doki moves on into site, tries to take the space that was occupied, manages to find one. That leaves us 2 versus 1. Uno has an opportunity to get the diffuser down as Canadian is a long way off site, doesn't have Nitro in hand, so will be reliant on the UMP through the floor if he can find this plant going down, but Uno hasn't got in to do it yet. He will start now, however.
He's just gone for the concrete, as they should have done as well here,
Yep.
so it doesn't matter, even if Canadian can scan them, he's going to have to come up and take this gunfight. They have a loose idea as to where he is because they heard those shots coming from Zulu, and all they've got to do is have Doki wait around the corner and get an easy close.
Let's fucking go, Carl. Let's fucking go.
Was a big round for him. 3 kills to really open things up.
Yeah, Alamau's done really well there. Got himself inside a site and just made an absolute nuisance of himself. It doesn't matter if he dies at that point. He's done what he needs to do. He's found the triple in the round. He's created the space. He's allowed G2 to get themselves established, in a position to be able to put the diffuser down. With Canadian off site, you've pretty much at 3 kills cleared outside. So yeah, great round from Alamau and G2 as a whole there, all the way from that start. Beautiful entry, zips on up. Look at that, absolutely easy as that. Finds himself 2 and just creates all the room that G2 need, because then Doki's able to move in from White Stairs.
Well, it's the thing I mentioned again, the kid's window was exactly what was used. Again, forget if it was BDS or if it was G2, but we saw the excellent use of that position to really capitalize on the chaos happening elsewhere, to charge in and get a couple of kills, and that's exactly what Alamau just did. 14 kills, he now finds himself at. It's him and Pamba racing to be top of the leaderboard at the end of this game.
Going to be heading to the third choice site then, rather than doubling down. DarkZero not going back to dorms. They're going to head instead to meeting. A little bit of a gamble here because it potentially gives G2 an opportunity not only to put themselves in the lead, but to really throw things in the mix in terms of that sort of 3-3 half. They've almost sort of guaranteed it then at that point. You know, you're looking at DarkZero basically needing to win every remaining defensive round if they don't want to go to overtime. So this is a really important round, and to gamble that on your tertiary site it's a big ask.
It is. I'm looking at the drone count already being chunked down here as well. 4 drones taken out relatively early on here. Pamba really making good use of the Solus to deny that information away from G2, just to try and slow them down a little bit, force them to take some risky peeks potentially in towards corners, but they do have a fair wacky utility on side in the form of the Brava drones, 2 extra there. You've got the EE1D coming in from Alamau as well, so plenty of tools for G2 to play with.
Uno just going to be relocating, looking to move around. Okay, thinks there's somebody down rear stage stairs, but isn't. Needs to be careful because the Valkyrie of Gaveni is just going to be looking down from that angle inside of Attic and the hatch, just waiting for the drone in to be completed, but I'm not sure that they've got a complete picture here, G2, of what's going on above, and Doki's lucky not to lose his head there.
I mean, at least now they know someone's upstairs, and this feels pretty standard. A lot of teams, when they're trying to attack in towards meeting, will look upstairs at first, clear out Attic, and then go and hit the site. But for the most part, Gaveni's going unchallenged up here. G2 needs
to do something about this.
Yeah,
the
they
wall's
can't ignore him.
soft. They can move. They can just shoot through the wall. Like there's lots of things that they can do to challenge the Valkyrie inside a meeting here. They really do need to do something about it.
Well, for now, he goes untouched, remaining on that top floor, and with a great Valcam here to support him as well. They know there's a Valcam in here, I imagine, as well, which they're only going to catch them out. The C4 comes through, and Gaveni was really hoping to catch someone close to that wall, but they're just bats away. steps up, challenges coming on through, so we can't play that hatch so easily anymore, as Alamau can very comfortably swing in and try and at least give him some challenge. That should open things up for G2 to start hitting him, but they've got no idea that Gaveni's still so close. A couple of kills come through. Doki and Benja, a couple more bat the other way. It's neck and neck between these two, round after round, Tim.
Yeah, G2 somehow come away from that exchange on top. It's unfortunate for DarkZero, really, because they did a great job inside of Attic there. G2 really with no idea. They knew somebody was kind of there, but they didn't know exactly where Gaveni is after doing a lot of damage. Finally going to be downed. It leaves it all up to Pamba in a 1v2. We see the Candela, no, it was a Track Stinger, sorry, coming in. It's the Gridlock who's actually on site. Doki manages to pick it up. The down was his as well, but G2, they get the round done, Des, but I just look at it, I think you've got to deal with Attic better than that.
Good push, guys. Great patience.
I mean, Doki disagrees. Great push, great patience is the word that keeps coming up, is patience. It kind of feels you get to that point in the round where they just start swinging haymakers at each other. I mentioned the first couple of kills that came through, then immediately 2 back from G2 elsewhere, and it just really devolves into a bit of chaos. And once the dust settles, it's then down to both teams to try and adapt to the new situation as quickly as they can. Just a note, by the way, we are aware there are a couple of sound issues. We're working through them. Thank you for bearing with us. Does still mean we have an excellent game to feast our eyes on, if not our ears, at least temporarily.
I can only assume maybe that there was some mute jammers to support Gaveni in there. It just wasn't being droned. Like when Alamau went in, he didn't know that he was so close to the lumber pile. He didn't know, you know, exactly where that Valkyrie was playing, and to give up 2 kills to him, you sort of ask him for trouble there, really. But anyway, G2, one way or another, they get the round done. They're starting to, as I say, look a little bit more comfortable as this game goes on. DarkZero are this time going to go back down to Laundry. They've just lost Dorms, they've just lost Meeting. They do have the opportunity to go back to their one winning defensive site, which was back in round 7, the first defensive opportunity they had. They closed this one out. They were able to keep hold of pillars, particularly. I'd like to see G2 either not try to drop electrical, or alternatively try to make sure that they've got full control of that area before they do.
Still looking to push their way through here a bit more easier than last time. It was the more when G2 on the defensive side that we saw the frustrations with the Ying Candela's being dumped in, as we heard Uno remarking that it was brilliant. I imagine we'll see that from G2 in a later game at some stage. Here, it feels like though Alamau's the one getting to have all the fun, playing on these wacky operators like the Blitz in this round. He really opened things up on the Amaru, but can he do the same with the shield in front of his face?
Doki just trying to patrol around the green corridor for any roamers that may try to flank on through. But yes, definitely seems to be a stack up towards that rear stage. You've got Uno out there as well, looking to probably get Meeting hatch, get rear stage control, make sure that Pillar's clear. The other problem that G2 had last time that we didn't really pick up on when they were attacking this site was they opened Meeting hatch and then they were trying to open the wall as well, and couldn't get that done either. The pellets were being shot off the wall, and again it just makes it very difficult because you've got people who can then sit inside a Shaiko, sit inside a pillar, and they don't get cleared out.
They don't. That'll be the barbed wire, sorry, being taken away, normally employed by a bandit. Taken away there off the stairs to allow easier access, of quicker push down once the hit actually comes on through. And I still love the, well, I don't think I love it actually, the amount of tracks that we see, obviously teams using around these days, like you're seeing here on screen, just to cut off those rotations, to force attackers to have to, or defenders, sorry, to have to shoot them on their way through. Just gives all the indication and extra intel over towards the attacking side, making flanks that a little bit harder really for the defenders. However, kills, they still come pretty easy. It's 2 in the form of frag grenades here, very quick. And here comes Alamau trying to break it open, but the support coming in from the mirror's magical. It's 3 kills back, Tim. It was 5v3. 2 seconds later after you blinked, suddenly it's 3v2 for DZ.
Yeah, G2 in control of Highway though and starting to use that. Uno manages to find one onto Rice. 2 versus 2 now. They're going to have to think about getting into sight. They do have a little bit of time to play with, but Uno, he's going to go in and try to get that diffuser down. Not really in any cover, and it allows DarkZero to swing around, pick up the kill, puts the kit down on the ground. Virtue does collect, but now he's in a 1 versus 2. Bulletproof Cam ahead of him as well, just feeding information back into the 2 players that are remaining. DarkZero, they can play this pretty cool at this point. Virtue, he's going to have to go for kills more than likely.
Rounds himself here towards wide on Highway, but swung by Gaveni, who equally has had a great few rounds.
Nice fucking round.
It's very clean. I agree, Troy, but I can't say those words.
Everything a little bit more muted now, though. We're getting towards the business end. It's 5-5, and
Do you want to switch for Rob to get traps? Do you want anything else?
these teams are well aware of what's on the line. Obviously, winning here will send them straight through into Phase 2 of the Atlanta Major. Losing will see them in a matchup later on in the day against Fury, the loser of which will be eliminated today. So the stakes are high. G2, I think, going to be maybe a little bit disappointed with themselves there. Gveni, once again, how many times have we seen those doubles and triples in the middle of the round that just absolutely swing it? But, you know, the plant spot just on the door there, it gave DarkZero the opportunity to swing around and pick that up.
They love it. Absolutely love it. Gveni up to 13 kills himself now as well. I was looking last round that it was Alamar and Doki on the other side hitting double digits, plus of course Bamba. But now Gveni's in that club as well for a game that is very quickly, Tim, heading towards overtime. We finally get to hear the famous line, I think, at this point.
We certainly could.
It's just been so
Be
back
the
and
first
forth.
one of the major.
It would for us.
Day 2, I mean, we've not done badly there.
Yeah, we had overtime so far in other games. I want to say yes.
We
sure.
have had overtime. NIP went to overtime in the very first game, actually. But we haven't had one in our...
No. Well, it will come, Tim. I'm very sure that it will. This one, though, is only a best of one. There's 45 rounds. May well kill us.
Alamo just going to be last. He's played Amaru a couple of times, but this time is going to be on the book instead. They're going to be aware of Canadian's presence. Obviously, the drone going in, being shot out in T3 will suggest that they've got somebody up there. Whether they choose to deal with that or not is a different matter. Sometimes if you're just aware of a player in T3, it's kind of enough. You don't necessarily need to go in and look for the kill directly. You can sort of just let them play up there, and just so long as you make sure that you've got the flank cut off, not the end of the world. Doki's going to be applying a little bit of pressure towards White Stairs as well. Needs to be careful, though. There is a man inside of security.
Making use of the nades here to blow out those castle barricades rather than 11 punching them and just risk someone springing up with a shotgun in your face at the same time. Canadian in a nice spot, though. He actually could do some damage here on towards that small tower roof if they're not careful on the side of G2. More tracks being rained on through just to lock out Zulu, try and lock out servers. Of course, Rice is dug in here. It's able to do some damage, which means now G2 have got to allocate some resource to trying to be careful of him and deal with him if he tries to push out. Right now, it's Virtue and Doki both holding out. Virtue on the drones, just sniffing out exactly what's going on.
Yep, Rash is clearing himself a path for if he does want that swing out of the door, something Doki needs to be aware of, but he will hear the shots of clearing any more should Rice want to push the bottom of White Stairs, so it does sort of accomplish what Doki wants here, which is giving him the space to move up those stairs. Benjo looking to come on the support potential. I think he's just waiting for a little bit of information, try for a vertical nade. He's got 2 in pocket still, so we'll be looking for maybe a little bit of a freebie. He has an opportunity there, but no, the nade comes in. There's nothing Rice can do. He manages somehow with fancy footwork to keep himself out of danger, but it's not enough. Alamo manages to find him. G2 throwing everything and the kitchen sink at him to clear him out.
2 nades coming in, a hard breach wall on towards the kitchen side wall as well, where Alamo finally collects the kill. I said they had to deal with him. I didn't know they'd commit 3 players in towards trying to break that
2
hold.
nades, 3 players,
That's what I mean, yeah.
utility.
That's what I mean, yeah. I mean, they've really gone for it, but they've got what they need, and they can do a little bit of working from below. If they want to make a plant happen here quite shallow at the top of White, for example, in behind bunks, they probably could get away with it, but they've got to move fast, and they've only got 30 seconds to play with.
That's it. Rice has done a great job, to be honest, burning so much of the round in there. It's taken a good while to get him clear, and it may just lead G2 into a bit of a Hail Mary here with 10 seconds left to go. They just have to sort of jump in and go for it and hope that the cover is there. There is a man playing hard left of the window. You can see NJR's going to be in an important position. Gets one. Can he find another? No. Gets shut down. That's going to give Uno the opportunity to plant here. 2 versus 2 as the kills come in. 1 versus 1. Uno most likely loses this and has to plant. And Canadian has to kill.
He absolutely does. Again, a little bit of a scrappy ending there. Both teams leaving these executes really until the last 15, 10 seconds or so. I love how...
20 nades, fucking got my security wall, holy shit. Let's go, let's go.
20 nades? It was 2. Divide by 10 and we're pretty close to the actual number. But it was a lot.
It must have felt like 20
It must have felt like the earth, like the sky was coming down on him inside of there. It was a lot. But they set themselves up well. I mentioned that now that they got that vertical control inside a kitchen, they could look towards a shallow plant, and they went for it through big window. It was good reading of the situation from G2, but when it actually came around to the execute, just a couple of angles they really hadn't accounted for. The timing slightly off, like with Doki pushing in top White. it was a second or two later you had Gridlock actually pushing in through the double window, which meant Doki got killed for free, and almost they lost the Gridlock at the same time, but fundamentally they walked away with the win.
5 seconds left.
Yeah, it's well held on. It's one of those sites that I say it's often difficult, you know, for the attackers. Even if you can get a couple of kills, that site is very defensible in the late round, particularly in that final 30 seconds. It's very defensible with even 2, maybe 3 defenders left. So it's really not the end of the world for DarkZero. They hold on well, get the round done, and give themselves the map point opportunity. And getting that run is going to leave them in meeting, though. We did see this previously.
Yes.
We did see G2 win it. I'd like to see G2 maybe deal with Attic a little bit quicker if DarkZero are playing inside of there again. You know, they should know to at least be looking in that area after last time.
Should, and maybe a different tack towards the approach of the round itself as well. Looking at their lineup here, and there's no like Thermite that you often see this a lot in APAT, for example, when we used to cast it, as you'd see a Thermite being brought along for the double wall. Here it has been left half open, so not really necessary. But you then see a shield like an Ossa who can cover all of Attic from inside a big tower just by planting down one of those shields, staring right down Attic, and the defenders can't easily push into you. You use the other one really to then actually look in towards the site itself, or plant it halfway up the stairs where you can oversee everything. So a bit more of an aggressive style here, I think, coming out. Really want to keep an eye, I think, on Alamau once again and see where he chooses to take this buck.
Droning still continuing. The Solace here picking up 5 so far. Not necessarily just the Solace, of course, but 5 drones gone, leaving G2 a little bit light on the ground. That's going to be another one. Only 4 drones remaining with only a minute into the round. That is going to leave G2 with a few difficulties here in terms of information, Des. And I look at that. You know, let's not forget we're in round 12 here. If DarkZero get this round, that's going to be huge for them. So limiting G2 to 4 drones could be a really big start for them.
Great nade almost catches out Rice here, taken low. Doki's round the corner as well. Rice just not respecting where the nade came from, and Doki pushes him, takes him out. That's some good clear they've now got here, but Attic is still not really in their control. Gaveni continues being an absolute terror, bringing down Benja. Again, it's just back and forth and back and forth. Uno's in trying to make a plan happen, and by the looks of it, they're completely unaware this is going on right now. They're not even sure where he's planted.
Yeah, G2 have just pulled off a real snatch and grab there, managed to get in, get the job done, and then start picking people up as DarkZero rotate around to try and find a retake. It was Virtue who got the first, but here comes Gaveni once again, manages to find himself a double 2 versus 2. He's backed up by Pamba. He's going to go for this. He might just get it. Is G2 close enough? Nade comes in. This is going to be close on the timing. The nade with fractions of a second to go will take the man down. And Des, we're going to overtime.
I've been dying to hear that line for months at this point, Tim. Whew, I think it was like 500 milliseconds left on the timer as well.
That was close. It was one of them where you just think, because they just had to throw the nade, they needed to get it in there to sort of scare Gaveni. You're like, this has still got nearly a 5-second fuse. Like, is this going to be enough? Like, whew, that was close.
Very, very close. Gaveni almost pulling it over the finish line. I keep on talking about him. We started out with Pamba. We spoke about Alamau an awful lot. But Gaveni has really warmed into this game, and he's simply unplayable in these mid-rounds. You said it yourself, 2, 3, 4 kills quite consistently.
Yeah.
Really starting to run away with things. But G2, they hold on by the skin of their teeth there with that magical nade at the end to send us into 3 more rounds of this absolute fiesta.
Look at that, 0.6 seconds remaining.
Wow.
I like the nerve from Gaveni as well, thinking, I'm just going to hold this, and I'm going to hope that that nade doesn't go off before I get it done. I love that. To just,
you were just like praying it would just roll enough that the indicator would go white.
If it goes, I mean, he only had about 30 HP, so you're sort of thinking it's still going to be a risk. But yeah, I love that. What a finish to regulation time. We go into it then. DarkZero are going to be on the defense. No real advantage either way. 3-3 on either half. This is, as we expected coming in. We said it'd be the toss of a coin. We said it'd be anybody's, and that's exactly where we find ourselves.
The other game currently has got 10 seconds left in the round, and it's at 5-5 as well. It could not be closer in both games going on at the same time right now. Absolute madness. I assume Space Station just won.
I don't know if you can hear DevMarter on our stream, but we can hear DevMarter very clearly. So I think they're having about as much excitement over there as we are here, which is fantastic for Phase 1, of course. G2 will be on the attack then, looking to get themselves inside of bunker. Yeah, it's going to be a laundry defense. They're doing well here.
There is no way.
They've got themselves good map control.
So they stuck a defuse in a 1v1.
Of course they did.
So we almost had that on our end to stop us going into overtime, but the nade did all the work that was required. Again, just absolute chaos across both games at the minute. I love it, Tim. The favourite part about the early stages of tournaments is just the absolute madness you get in what's normally unexpected matchups. This one is the kind of game you'd be used to seeing, but Bliss, for example, really testing SSG is just incredible to see.
It is Virtue just going to be getting in, opening up those hatches. And again, G2 going to be looking for that rear-sided push. If they're opening meeting hatch, they're going to be dumping utility down, looking to open the wall. They've tried this before. It hasn't worked. Canadian's going to stand there. They're going to hope that they can get some utility, and I think to clear him out. I think this is actually where they got one of the nade kills last time. They sent the nade in there. This time, Canadian is going to back himself away, so they're not going to have that success. And G2 maybe just able to get a little bit more presence around Pillar.
Really trying to Hail Mary their way through this one, like tracks coming down, nades coming down, flashes coming down, but G2 haven't made happen what they need to, but Doki's managed to, while all this is going on, work his way in. What a position he's into as well. I'm sure they have no idea he's inside a pillar. They've heard no drop coming through E-Box, so they don't know that he's here. He could do a lot of damage if someone just sets the wrong foot, saying that. Flashes are coming out. I'm pretty sure now they're going to know there are two players pushing their way through.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, 45 seconds left to go. You're going to expect that they're in this sort of position. That is one down. Gaveni just looking to fight back over the bomb. Chassis can't find anyone. Canadian is not going to have an opportunity to pick his man up, I don't think, especially as Virtue is opening this wall. He's going for it, but it's going to leave him in a difficult position. Look at that timing. Virtue nearly with an opportunity. The diffuser was going to go down, but Uno, he's going to take a little bit of damage, which is going to drift him away from it. Canadian finds Benja. 5 versus 4. 20 seconds left to go. It's turning into a bloodbath. There's
G2 thought they had it all lined up, but DarkZero find two. Doki one back on the other side. Plant attempt or re-attempt coming in from Uno here as well. Doki holding back. Overwatch playing for his team. Uno manages to stick the plan. It's into a 2v2, Tim. Doki's on a 3K playing on Pillar. It's a quad kill, but Uno takes the very last. Absolute chaos yet again in the late round, but G2 snagging away and move to match point.
That was absolutely anybody's in those final 20 seconds, but props to Doki. He just stands up and is countered there. It was all down to him, holding on from Pillar, covering Uno, getting the diffuser down, preventing the push, coming back through. G2 must have felt hard done to in the mid-round there. They had a lot going for them. They'd got themselves into good positions. The timing honestly hurt them a couple of times. We saw that wall open and Virtue just missing those sort of moving parts a couple of times, and G2 almost lost out on the round because of it, but managed to get it done. They clung on. They fought hard for that one. Impressive stuff from G2.
I think Doki probably moved about 5 steps in the last, 75 seconds of that round? He was just, like I said, the Overwatch player on Pillar, just sat there waiting for anyone to move, and he shot as soon as they took a step forward. Great long angle he's got here, but also a little bit of a shout out to Virtue, who got down inside of elbow, opened up just a 2x Kairos hole that really kept the line of DarkZero back behind that sort of 3 players all down towards the south side, and you can see exactly what it means to the boys as well. That was a huge round for them.
Yeah, straight up out of their seats there celebrating. As I say, G2 for me have got better and better as this game has gone on. DarkZero still fighting hard. I think what I love about this game so far is that we're seeing 2 teams winning rounds. That's what it's coming down to. It's who can get a hold of it and who can win the round for their team, rather than it maybe being mistakes, rather than it being errors. It's just all about somebody stepping up and getting the job done.
That other game's going to overtime as well, Tim.
Of course it is.
Oh my, oh my. Just as a reminder, there is a second stream for play-ins at the very least. After this, we go back to just 1 stream. But if you do have a second monitor or want both games up at the same time, twitch.tv/Rainbow6Bravo is where you can catch what sounds like an absolutely chaotic game between Team Bliss and SSG. They're just going into overtime. But there are still 2 rounds, potentially, of this game to go. This could be the last. And immediately, Tim, my eyes go towards Gaveni on the Blitz. 17 kills in this game. We cannot sing his praises highly enough. He's been absolutely incredible. This could be something special if he gets the opportunity to put this Blitz to full use.
Certainly could be. Virtue is going to be ducking back down in towards site with the Warden of Benja as well. Like you said, really, I'm not going to say it's a bit of a gamble. You know, at the end of the day, the Blitz is a viable pick. We see it used to great effect sometimes, but you just feel like when it's match point, you really have to get something out of that Blitz this time. You know, and you don't always know whether that's going to be the case or not. You feel if G2 can find that early kill onto Gavarni, then maybe that just sort of shapes the outcome of the matchup here.
Whew. Almost in March. Nades then pushing their way down. That'll be clearing out the barbed wire. Seen this one before. It was Flores last time around that made that task happen for them. But open here, really laying out the red carpet for the Blitz to come charging in. Normally we've seen it used, Tim, after a very famous train sound that once came out of someone on an E while broadcast.
I can't imagine who that might have been.
I don't know, it might have been. But they came charging in through elbow. Once the wall was opened up, charging towards site, mowed down the opposition. Here it may be the same sort of story, but they've got to unseat Uno, who once again has got himself planted inside a bunker, watching out towards construction spawn.
We've just got that sort of calm before the storm at the minute, really, as DarkZero, they're certainly taking their time here. They don't want to rush things. We've seen them have success with that before. You know, Parker was saying yesterday how they can be a slow, methodical team, but it does reduce your opportunity. You've got to get things right first time if you're going to do that, because you don't always have, you know, that chance to switch things up, change it around. Just going to spot the Valkyrie cam there and take it out in meeting Alamau with Nitro in hand and ready ripped. He's going to just pop that away. Knows that there's not maybe an opportunity up above him, so we'll come back. And like you say, coming into that final minute now, this is what it could all ride on for DarkZero.
This is it. Look, he's posted outside construction. He's ready to come charging in. Nice C4 coming out over the top, but just sadly sailing the wrong way. It's not going to catch Canadian. You could just sprint past it quite easy. Flash is coming in to help secure the E-box wall being opened up, remove that spot that we often call Shaiko. Gavarni's looking to charge his way forwards here as well, but has got to make this happen. Flash comes on through, but they are ready, and Alamau has just poked his head over the parapet and found Rice. At this point, it feels like DZ have just slowed down to a crawl. They've got to find something. It's only Canadian left, and if he could do this against everyone, it'd be magic. But G2 are not letting it happen. They secure a spot in our phase 2, and it's going to be DZ against Fury in a best of 3 to see who goes home.
What a finish from G2. Alamar really the catalyst there with the double, just taking that risk. It could have gone either way, but manages to find the head of Rice as he peeks up the hatch. It's that position that you just know people scream and say, why is he looking up there? Why would you do that with 30 seconds left to go? But sometimes it just pays off. The risk is worth it. The reward is there. G2, they move through to phase 2.
Alamar still having plenty of fun. I'm most excited to see this now. I can't imagine there'll be any fireworks when it comes down to the GG. But it was plenty of fun. Plenty of fun. And something tells me, if we're lucky, we will see these guys rematch once again. Two very passionate IGLs, two very loud IGLs. Always makes for a very exciting fiction. I'm hoping that we see both of them later in the competition.
Yeah, I'd absolutely love to see that rematch. I think it'd be brilliant if we could see them pair up again. But G2 getting the job done. It took them till overtime. They get into phase 2. The upshot of that is that now DarkZero will have to play Fury in that best of 3 later on today.
Which is nice because it's not a rematch of what we saw yesterday.
It's not. It's something different.
Which invites that there might be a little bit of a surprise, a little bit of difference when G2 come up against Fury. I think many are already looking at it and saying, look, based on the quality of this game, it was really hard to separate G2 and DZ. Everyone expects DarkZero to win that game later, but I think if this major has shown us anything so far during play-ins, nothing is guaranteed.
Absolutely. We've had a couple of upsets. I've already said it, Des. I've called it, and I will stand by what I said. Out of the big teams that are left today, I honestly think we are going to see at least one upset, at least one surprise, where one of those big teams gets sent home. Could it be DarkZero? Of course it could. It's all in the hands of Fury.
It is. And just as these replays play out as well, you're just reminded about how much of a screamer that game turned out to be. Like, I think we expected it to be a good game, but I didn't expect it to be this close. You know, Diffuser's coming down to the last minute. Massive comebacks in round-ending situations. Huge multi-kills out of Gavarni. Doki's 4K around Pillar. There's just so much that you can look at and say, yeah, that was a great moment in that game. And again, I think for the fans and for us, I sorely hope we get to see that again. And just as a reminder, here are the scoreboards, so you can see how that absolute screamer ended up. 19 and 18 kills for Alamau and Doki. On the other side, 18 and 16 for Gavarni and Pamba. Full of pop-offs, full of fun. again, really hope we get to see this happen later in the tournament again.
Yeah, it was just an excellent game of Siege, wasn't it? You know, you don't need anything more than that to sell the Atlanta Major if that's the quality that we've got to look forward to.
Oh,
and of
yeah.
course, we're only on play-ins yet. We've got a whole host of new teams that are going to be joining us for Phase 2 onwards. And boy, I can't wait for some of those matchups that are coming after what we've just seen.
Absolutely incredible. And again, that other game that's going on now is 7-6 to SSG. It's it's just so tight between the two of them. It's so hard to call, but that's what it's all about. These are only best of ones, and in a way, like, you dream there could be best of threes, but we do save best of threes for the elimination games where someone goes home. It's the same story going into Phase 2 during our Swiss round as well. So much more to look forward to today.
Yeah, and, you know, we already picked up on it, but you can see how much it means to G2. They've had an up and down year, really, you know, with the highest highs of winning the SI, but then they've had some difficulties along the way as well, having to get here to the Atlanta Major through the last chance qualifiers, which sees them here in Phase 1. They've now qualified out of that, so it sort of rights that wrong, if you will. But yeah, G2, a little bit of a roller coaster ride through 2023, and it looks like they could be back on the up.
Well, we'll throw out to a break. When we come back, our best of threes get underway. Tons to look forward to. For now, go and check out twitch.tv/Rainbow6Bravo to see the end of Bliss versus SSG. We'll catch you guys later.